Hi, this is Winn Claybaugh. Welcome to my Best of Masters weekly audio blog for AmericanSalon.com. Next up is one of my favorite clips from the last 20 years of inspiring interviews from Masters Audio Club. Enjoy and learn. So let's talk as though this were an audience that's not a bunch of hairdressers. You know, empowering women. And I say empowering women, but it doesn't mean that we're leaving out the men, because men need to be empowered too. But I just think that sometimes the issues are more on the forefront when it comes to women.
The issues are more on the forefront, but I also look at young men, and I think their generation has been ignored, and I think men are sometimes treated cruelly.
Well, you see that nowadays, like anorexia. It's on the rise with, young boys.
Sure it is.
And so it's...
And I think there's been, you look at different things in education journals, now they're talking about the prejudice against boys. My degree is in education, and boys do learn, but boys do learn differently. And I think there's been for a long time it was that boys were exposed to more, but then all of a sudden there were different focuses on girls, and this whole ADD thing came about, which we can't get into here very long. But I would say empowering men is important too. Young boys need that. And I guess if they have really strong male models, and of course a lot of little boys are growing up in homes where there is no father. Also, they used to have sports that were like crazy, and some kids are lucky enough to have sports, and some don't. Or, I think boys are expected to be tough, and boys are expected to, come on, buck it up, come on, you can be tough and you can be strong, and you better get on with it. And I think that they're not as permitted to express pain or concern or fear. And that's kind of bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So you're in front of an audience now, picture it, and it's a bunch of women, or it's just a bunch of people. From your perspective, from what you've learned through marriage, through motherhood, through being an icon, an educator, degrees, and your topic was leadership, what would you tell that audience?
I tell them that life is wonderful, but life is not easy.
Okay.
And if you expect it to be easy, and you hear stories of people who've gone through tremendous tragedy and survived. And I think people have to expect that it's not going to be an easy ride. And that they have to, any moment that includes love, sharing, joy, any kind of positive feeling has to be cherished. Because it's not to be taken for granted. It's not to be, when you are loved or when you love, you can't take that lightly. That has to be, I think the relationships we have with people and with ourselves are very, very important.
You talking business right now or personal right now?
Personal.
Okay.
And that transfers into business.
Okay.
I'm very blessed to have the staff I have. I have a staff who I cherish. I'm so lucky to have 15, 20 people who are amazing.
But we all know you worked very, very hard for that. And that's the other message I want you to deliver, because there are people listening to this, or again, we're back to that audience of a bunch of people who are paid a bunch of money to hear Beth's success secrets for business on creating that kind of a staff. How do you attract that kind of a staff? How do you train that kind of a staff? How do you create that loyalty? How do you create that culture that people want to belong to? All of that is on purpose, especially where you're doing it.
You have to let them know that you don't want them to be just as good as you are. You must let them know that you expect them to pass you. And that when they do pass you, you are going to embrace them and love them, and that there will be a place for them.
Okay, how do you teach that? Because, first of all, there's a lot of leaders. You don't have to be a business owner to know that. I mean, you're smart enough to realize you want people to be better than you are. Otherwise, it's all about you, and that's a lot of work. But there's, managers who aren't even the business owner, but they don't want to hire somebody that is as good as they are.
It's too bad, isn't it?
It is too bad. I mean, I tell people, you know what, if the person who just took your position, if they aren't as good as you are or better, that means you're going to be stuck. You don't get to grow, and you're going to be in that same position, same salary, same duties for the next 20 years because nobody can replace you.
Bob Oppenheim at Clairol told me when I was a kid, hire your replacement. Hire your replacement.
And when he said that, did that make sense to you back then?
Sure, because I wanted to be promoted.
Okay.
I had, sure. Come on, I knew there was more there. And when there's not more there, there's more someplace else.
Okay, but you're not preaching to the choir right now. You're preaching to a bunch of people who don't really buy into what you're saying right now.
No, and you know what?
So how do you train that? Because, again, you want to be surrounded by a bunch of people who, I don't remember, it was Henry Ford. Like, I'm going to quote stories about Henry Ford like I know, whatever. I do know that there are 50 states. No, what is it, Henry Ford, when he was like on trial and the judge is like, well, what's the answer to this? And he's like, I don't know the answer to that, but I know who knows.
Right. That's what they say. You have to know what you don't know, and you have to know who to go to. I know what I don't know, and I know what I have to get from other people.
Okay.
And I also know that you cannot be great at everything. You have to know what you're great at. You have to get better at it. And then to say, who do I surround myself who's really good at this other stuff? And you have to laugh. You can't be jealous or upset that somebody's better at something than you are.